So I heard you made up the names of each pub in the film to represent different points in the story.
Yeah, oh no, we didn't make them, they're all real pub names.
Oh, really?
Like what we did, like the World's End is a real pub name. In fact, there was like several in the UK. There's one in particular that me and Simon used to meet in, like in North London. And it's why that name stuck with me, because I always used to think it was weird saying, I'll see you in the World's End. I'll see you at the World's End. I'll meet you at the World's End. So when we wrote the story, we always knew it was going to be 12 pubs. You had like 12 steps to kind of like sort of like the end of the movie. Then when we had the story, we went back and we picked real pub names to illustrate what was happening in each one. So like, we wanted them to feel like tarot cards. It's like the name of the pub tells you something that's going to happen in the scene. But they're all real names. Even the famous Cock is like sort of the name of a real bar in London.
Well, what bar would you have a drink in to celebrate making the end of the movie?
It's got to be the World's End.
Yeah, right? Well, you know, also, a lot of directors today just seem to put their camera down and leave it. You're very deliberate with your camera work. Why do you feel it's important to make that effort?
I just think it's like, film is a visual medium. Like sort of, you know, if you're like looking it to the ground, you may as well be at the theatre.
Exactly. You did such a wonderful job setting up the friends in the beginning of the film. I almost didn't want the aliens to show up. Do you ever think you'd accept the challenge of directing a film that had no genre elements or satire?
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, in this one, it's like the sort of like in a lot of sci-fi films, the aliens represent the manifestation of their fears. It's like, what is Simon scared of? Simon's scared of growing up. And like the aliens literally represent kind of like that loss of identity. Is like they're sort of like, are you going to be part of the system? Are you going to like grow up and be like responsible and efficient, or are you going to be like the high school rebel forever? So to us it was like, it wasn't like we started writing like a drama and then said, oh, you know, let's bring some aliens
in. Oh no, yeah,
in.
it totally worked.
But I would do sometime, absolutely. Like I think sort of with this it was definitely like sort of, because it was the culmination of like Sean and Hot Fuzz, which are all genre films, we wanted this to be our sci-fi film.
Yeah, it was great. I really loved it a lot. But you know, the aliens do show up, and I thought it was interesting you went with kind of like a low-budget look, even though the special effects were obviously not low-budget. I mean, they were really like believable.
Yeah.
So why did you choose to go kind of like indie instead of slick?
I think because like it was sort of to get that air of nostalgia in a way, in terms of like, you know, I wanted them to feel like they were dolls. I thought that sort of like it would look. It was just sort of another way of like, it's like the whole film is about nostalgia, and it's another element of like sort of making it feel like something that you saw as a kid, and they're almost like action figures.
Yeah.
So you know, the whole idea of them breaking apart in a very sort of like the smashing, like almost like piñatas and stuff, I kind of wanted it to be like sort of, and also it's like a combination of like digital effects, practical effects, makeup, animatronics, you know, like, so it was great designing these sequences because like we wanted it to be, lots of it to be in camera, and like even things like kind of like the glowing eyes and mouths, we did that in camera, which was just, yeah, it was
that's
crazy.
Impressive. That's like right up there with the Attack the Block kind
Exactly,
of special
yeah,
effects. The last thing I want to ask you real quick is that I have to ask, Avengers Age of Ultron news, as someone who's doing Ant-Man.
Nothing about it.
Well, no, doing well, no. Tell me everything you know. No, but with Ant-Man, you know, you're directing that movie. How do you feel about the news of them tackling that there when that's really supposed to be Hank Pym's creation?
You know what? My script didn't like feature that at all, so like it wasn't like it's not a problem for me, you know. Like and you know, Joss knows what he's doing.